stepped on the brakes, and while I was driving, the floor pan went down, and I went with it. It's pretty cool.
Still jamming out to the music.
Just Google offensive T-shirts. There you go.
I was a skinny little punk kid that wasn't having too much luck with the ladies. So.
I need to drink now, you guys. Oh my God.
We had grown up watching Lou Santiago. How can we not? How can we not want to be on TV? How are you talking about?
I'm still jamming out to the music.
I am not going to ask about the hat.
We're already in the dumpster. We're what, 4 minutes in?
I think it was a 93 Toyota Corolla. Back when that was my first car when I was 14 years old. I didn't even have a license.
Really?
No lie, maybe 6 months later, I had the whole suspension, motor.
What's your worst TV experience doing Garage Cut?
Do you want me to just come back next week and do another one? We ain't got time.
A Puerto Rican guy with a 68 Charger, come on.
I'm just saying. Awesome.
If you've never heard of LaGrange, ZZ Top did a song about LaGrange. So
That's the reason why I know it.
that's right.
I'm not going to worry about it. I know it's in Texas.
So
When you pull into town, the sign says they got a lot of nice girls.
Still jamming out to the music. Hey everybody, Lou Santiago, and tonight on Three Lefts Don't Make a Right, we've got Terry Wilson and Bubba Beason. You don't know who either one, well, you guys know who they are more than likely, but you don't know them like we know them. Matter of fact, when you say Bubba, you got to say it right because he lives in Arkansas, it's Bubba. So you got to say it right, don't forget that. So Bubba does LT swaps, Terry does LS swaps. So we're going to combine the two, confuse the hell out of everybody, and we're going to have a laugh and a great time while we're at it. And if there's any questions that we can think of, we'll ask them. John might be checking Facebook. So if there's a question, put it up there. Or during the show, go on YouTube and put a question in there, and we'll get it answered for you because it's important. So that's what we got going on. We're going to do a commercial. Then John's going to come in. And then we're going to tell lies, carry on, and then we're going to bring in the guys. Hit it, Ken.
The deals at John Kennedy Subaru were so great, we had to investigate.
Where'd you get this car?
Right here at John Kennedy Subaru.
Well, who sold it to you?
A guy with a mustache, about 6'2".
Snap out of it, rookie.
You don't have to be a detective to track down a great deal. Uncover your next vehicle at John Kennedy Subaru. Enjoy your ride.
That commercial's never going to get old.
It's fucked up, isn't it?
Whose idea with that?
Ken's, of course.
It was awesome.
His favorite movie is Airplane. He does, so it's a spinoff.
So awesome.
Right?
So, what are you doing, man?
What am I doing? I'm going to Carlisle tomorrow. I got to get up early, so I'm not drinking. I'm drinking actually coconut water tonight. So I'm going to play. I don't want to feel horrible as I'm walking 29,000 miles.
Yeah.
But
I got a box for you from Moja.
Yeah, right. You open it? Did you open the
No,
box?
I didn't open it yet. I couldn't, I can't pick it up. So in the morning when Nick wakes up, I'll cut it open and I'll have him take everything out.
Yeah.
I just can't pick it up. Did I tell you that I fell last Thursday?
Yeah, you told me, but you didn't tell everybody else. That was after.
Yeah, last Thursday I took a spill. Had to spend 3 hours in the emergency room, and I'm better. I'm a lot better, but I'm sore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not doing. I got to be careful. I got an MRI Thursday, next Thursday at 8 in the evening, and they're gonna tell me if I did any damage. Yeah. I was just walking down the driveway, man.
You're getting old. You're falling over.
I know, falling over. It's just the craziest damn thing. I don't understand it.
Yeah. But you were supposed to get the ring and pinion, bearings, and something else in that box. The housing, the housing for the sticky green love machines coming to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna build a center section.
Yeah.
And I'll bring when I come up, I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
And we'll give Eaton some love, and Moses some love.
Yeah, that's the 6.2.
Yeah,
I got that car all apart. It doesn't look anything like that. I should have sent in a couple more pictures over to Ken. That side is now in primer. I took all that. I stripped it down. I took all the paint off it. Started taking the paint off the other side.
You couldn't not do it. You had to do it.
By the time I got done, I was doing it anyhow. So why not just take it down?
Yeah.
Driver's side needs a door. It got
needs
about
a door or a patch.
No, it needs a door. Listen, by the time I weld up the holes, because I got to get the metal work right, the thing was hit. It's got about an inch of plastic on it. By the time I dig that out, there you go. And the door that I'm talking about, driver's side door, is going to be painted blue. So I'm going to buy a new repo door and make it look like shit, like that right there. So I'm going to go out of my way to take new and make it look bad.
You're going backwards the hard way. That's what you're doing.
I am, but you know what? After I was looking at the bottom of the door, it's thin in some areas. Overall, I mean, it looked like at one point it was decent not long ago, but they hodgepodged it. By the time I get the hours in it, I might as well just replace it.
Yeah,
I hate to do that, and I hope the reproduction actually fits. I saw nightmares where the aftermarket deck lids, you have to cut the quarter to get the body lines right. So I hope the door is pretty close and put on straight, because sometimes they put the skin. It's taking forever trying to get everything to line up.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't have that situation and the guy that walked in, cockeyed when he welded the thing together.
So, silly question. All the guys in the comment section there,
are
they watching us on? How are they watching us?
You can see the red mark. That's YouTube. The blue F. They're on Facebook.
Okay, so you guys who are watching, if you have a question for our guests, are you watching? Are you checking Facebook tonight, John?
I got them both running on the side here.
Okay.
Judy Gross, the girl I went to high school with, she's
you guys would be better. You guys would be better off going on YouTube and putting the questions in the comment section of the video, and I'll do our best to get them answered. Even if we don't answer them tonight, because I know we could probably get a lot of questions. We can get a hold of Bubba and Terry, and we can get you answers. Just so you guys know.
Yeah, if we don't get to it. Yeah, because there's going to be a lot here, and it's a big subject.
And if it's on YouTube, I can go and look at it tonight and get the questions pulled down. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you how I come across Bubba. I was talking to Junkyard Jimmy.
Yeah.
We were talking LSs, we're talking LTs. I said, who do you got down there that does LT swaps? So he tells me to call the local performance place. I ain't going to drop their name unless Bubba wants to. But I call the place up. Jimmy says they do everything that's high end. They take it to this performance shop. I call them up. They said, listen, LTs? I said, yeah, you need to talk to Bubba. I'm like, Bubba? You're high-end shop? You're telling me, call Bubba. Like, he's the guy. I'm like, all right, I'll call Bubba. I get a hold of Bubba. I said, listen, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm thinking about. LS 6.2, the whole thing. He says, yeah. He goes, I have figured out the LTs. So we got to talking, and he was going on and on. He's the military guy, 25 years. I think it's 25 or 27.
Yeah. It was probably 27 because your last pay raise is 26.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. You ain't making no more after 26 unless everybody gets a raise. Yeah.
Yeah. So he does Run for the Fallen. And I want to talk about that. So we're going to have him come on first, wait a few minutes, get to know Bubba. Then we'll get Terry on. Then we'll start talking, comparing the two, the LS, the LTs, which parts are interchangeable, what motor mounts work, transmissions, that type of thing. We could go on for probably 2 hours tonight. But we're going to have to cut it short. So there's no sense, us jibber jabbering. Why don't we bring out Bubba?
Well, then, dude, make it happen.
Yeah, can.
Make it happen.
Bam, there he is.
Bam. Bubba. Wait. I'm sorry. Bubba.
Mom and Dad didn't like me, so they named me that.
That is your real name. That's not a nickname. Most people.
That is my real name, of course.
He is from Arkansas. What do you expect? That's a regular name.
I have a relative whose real name is Nick, but they call him Bubba because his younger brother couldn't pronounce his name, couldn't pronounce brother, so he would say Bubba. So he kept Bubba. And I think that's a lot of it came about that way. But Bubba is actually Bubba. I got a friend named Bubba.
And after 25 years, 2 months, and 5 days in the military, I've heard it all. Bubba can't dance, and Bubba shot the jukebox, and all sort of other stuff. So
I met a couple Bubbas in the military that was their name. That was their given name.
Really?
Yeah. And they were all from the South. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'm cool with
Good
it.
times.
Yep. So, okay, before we get started on the engines, Bumper, what's the deal with the whole Run for the Fallen and all that? Give us the deal on that.
I started out working on airplanes in the military, and I became a first sergeant, which pretty much is like the problem solver of the unit. And I had a chance meeting of a Gold Star mom in 2007, and I didn't know what a Gold Star mother was, so I asked her, and she said, "I'm a mom who's lost a son or daughter while in defense of our country."
Yep.
At that point in my life, pretty much changed, because if something happened to me, I would hope somebody would remember me during that time. And so I was driving home. I was in Pennsylvania somewhere, and I called my buddy when I was stationed in New Jersey. I said, "What do you think about running across the state of New Jersey for every New Jersey fallen hero since 9/11? He said, "I think you're crazy, but let's do it." And so we started that in 2009. I went to Afghanistan for a year, and then I moved down here to Arkansas. So we decided to do the same thing in Arkansas. So next year will be our 11th year. Wow. We run 155 miles, and every mile we stop for a fallen Arkansan. We put down a flag and a bio. A lot of the family members are there, and it just shows the family that, we still say the name of their son or daughter or their husband or their wife. And it's just important to, we're Americans. We're all in this together. Right. And we just feel like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is cool. But you know what he said though that really strikes me? He said, "We're all Americans." That's the thing, and I've said this before on the show, Bob, but people don't think like that. Everybody wants to be their own crew. We're Americans. Absolutely. End of story. You don't have to like the country, but you're still a damn American.
Yeah. And I tell people, you're either an American or an American. Which one are you going to be?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So,
Bubba, when you sent you sent over the bio so we could get information, when you sent a picture of you being in the military, along with the bio, there was about 8,000 awards that you received being in the military.
Dude, he's got some fruit salad.
They were probably, it was probably 6 or 8 inches on his side here.
Yeah, there's a couple, 2 or 3. I'm blessed and honored to wear the thread of our nation, and got to do a lot of things. I was one of the few people to train Iraqis and Afghans on military aviation and whatnot. So I'm kind of versed in that. And, like I said, I'm just blessed in what I'm doing and still being able to work with my hands. I've always been good at working with my hands and understanding, electrics and whatnot and mechanicals. And that got me a long ways in the military. I retired as a chief in 2016, and my son's already been in the military for 3 years now. So how time flies.
Is he in the Chair Force or what's he in?
No, he's in the Air Force. He's air traffic controller. So not the Chair Force yet, But I can't tell you, for all the, the patriots out there, the military is definitely changing. We're just a slice of the demographic of America. And so you hope that, things, will work out. So that's all I got to say about that.
Bubba, talk about coming home, opening up your shop. Your shop this is your house behind you. This is where you live, right?
And you can probably see the flagpole right up there above that bed. So we bought this house. I come back from Afghanistan in 2010. And before I left, I told my kids, I said, we're going to buy you a dog. We're going to buy you a cement pond, which is a pool. And we're going to have a mansion. So we found a place up here in BB, Arkansas. My initials is BB. So I live in BB. And in 2019, we bought a whole bunch of land behind my house. And my wife's like, we're not getting no younger. You might as well build a shop. And I was like, are you high or something? Are you on drugs? And she said, no. So right when the COVID hit, I already had metal ordered. And when the COVID hit to shut the country down, I was the only thing going in town. So I had to pick a litter of contractors for, you know, concrete and, you know, whatever. So I looked into this building. It's a little bit about 5,000 square feet. Me and my buddy, Danny Hill, we drew it out on paper, and I cut out the size of the vehicles that I was going to place inside the shop. And he says, okay, make it bigger. I made it bigger, and I'm plumb full.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm looking to add on. Yeah. I've got another, you know, I got about 1,600 that's heated and cool, but I got the storage area on the other side, and it's full of square bodies. It's, you know, my 57 truck, the panel van, the S10 I bought brand new in 1991. I still own it. I courted my wife in that thing, so it's still in the family. And yeah, just blessed, man.
That's awesome.
Bubba, am I telling the truth? When I called up the performance place, they said talk to Bubba. I talked to Bubba. He's like, yeah, I figured out the LT. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, we can say their name, right?
Yeah, what?
We can say that.
Yeah, I was leaving it up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Gwatney Performance Innovation out of Jacksonville, Arkansas.
Whoa. Did you say Gwatney?
Yes. The initials are GPI.
Okay, that's better.
And yeah, and it stands for Gwatney Performance Innovation. It was started by a guy by the name of Aaron Salisbury, which is by far the smartest, most technical guy that I've ever met in my life as far as, you know, vehicles and whatnot. I mean, and him and John Sims is the head engine builder for Kuntz and GPI. And, you know, just listening to those guys, and, you know, I've known them for 20 years or so, just what they've come through and what they've been able to do with, you know, the Chevrolet engine and whatnot. As far, I mean, they were supercharging LT1s, LT4s back in the late 90s, making serious horsepower. But now they branched to the LS and LT, and, you know, that's the LT motor I put in a C10.
Bubba,
wow. Now
with this here, power brakes, did you have issues with the brakes hooking that up?
No, we haven't had issues yet. That was a concern.
Yeah.
You know, the vacuum signal, and I'll get into that a little bit later. The vacuum signal on these LT motors is totally different than what you and I would understand with an LS or a normal carbureted engine, just about because of the injector fires directly in the cylinder, and it doesn't give a vacuum signal like a normally would. So, and that's why a lot of the truck motors have the vacuum pumps on the side. But we actually made this one work. It doesn't have the cams not have too much overlap, so we still got good brakes.
Wow. I heard.
What other issues did you come across dropping?
About it.
Say again, John?
What other issues did you have putting that in?
So the first thing, you know, we kind of looked into those LT. You know, we were initially going to do a LS, but we found a short block built by a reputable engine builder by the name of Bobby Shahan, a guy squared away. And so once we bought that motor for the price, I mean, it was pretty cheap. We were kind of committed to the LT program from there on out. And initially, right out the gate, you're worried about the high pressure fuel system right there, you know, underneath the intake. You know, what's going to be able to drive that to provide enough fuel for that. And from what we figured out is you can use a Walbro 255 liter per hour pump with the Corvette regulator, which dumps down around 58 or so PSI. But here's what we figured out in that situation. Initially, we have a 340 aeromotive pump in the tank in the rear. Well, what we've realized is that regulator does not relieve enough pressure, and it makes that 340 pump overwork itself, and then it fails.
The cat's trying to break in. Keep talking.
And so, and I've talked with another local engine guy, by the name of Bill Fry, and he had the same situation, one of his LT motors, where he said Speed Tech told him, do not use a 340 pump, use a 255 instead if you're running the Corvette regulator, which everybody knows the Corvette regulator is the best thing going. You know, you got in and out, and it regulates, and plus it's got a filter. So that was the big situation there from the get-go is how we're going to feed the high-pressure pump on that. And initially, we ordered a lot of this stuff from Holley. I mean, this was back in April of last year. And we knew it's going to be out there, you know, supply chain, everybody knows that. Yeah. And so I met a guy at LS Fest, Jamie at Metal Tech Fab up there in Michigan. And we started talking about it. I told him, hey, I've already put an LT motor in a C10 and I've used somebody else's motor mounts. However, I don't like the pinion angle. I mean, it was leaning up like this, like a 6 degrees. And I'm like, that's unacceptable. So Jamie told me, he goes, I got a C10 on the jig up there at the shop. He goes, let's make some C10 mounts. So he sent me some mounts. We did a lot of communication through texting and pictures and whatnot. And we got a pretty doggone good mount. It's got a good pinion angle. I wanted to use the Holley pan to get the motor down and back instead of real up tall. The reason they make those mounts tall is because the 6L80s and all those transmissions have real deep pans. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm running a 4L80 in this, so I'm really not worried. And that's some of the problems. And we had a Holley mid-mount system ordered for it, but supply chain. So we went with a CVF. I've never used CVF before. And they're out of Michigan and Minnesota, and they're a new company making these mid-mount systems. So we use the CVF setup on this truck, and it's pretty doggone good. It uses some adapters, use the LS water pump, spacing's good. And it's real clean. It's a real clean install, and I was real happy with it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. What parts are interchangeable? Because I remember
for interchangeable, LT to LS is pretty much nothing. I thought motor mounts was going to be nope. The bolt spacing's different. Everything's different about that motor. I mean, it may look kind of sort of like an LS.
Yeah,
but that's what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, it's a totally different beast. Valve covers and, you know, everything, you know, you got the direct injection underneath the intake, you know, it's just, you know, the Mighty Mouse, you know, the catch can up there on the brake booster, you know, you can say you use that with the LS platform, but everything else is straight LT. When we were mounting up the transmission, you got to get a special flywheel flex plate. That's the only TCI is the only one that makes it to convert to the 8-bolt pattern of the LT motor to the 3-bolt pattern of the converters. Huh, and wow. That's a pretty pricey situation right there. You know, I can tell you, you know, and I told my buddy Chris, you know, I built this truck for nothing. You know, he's a good friend of mine in the military. I told him, I said, man, you threw me through thick and thin. And if I call him and tell him I killed somebody, he's going to show up with a shovel. You know, he's just one of those guys. Yeah. And I said, man, you buy the parts and I'm going to build it. So he's got quite a bit of money in it, but it's all top of the line stuff, you know, and, you know, he's an airplane mechanic like I am. So we build these things like, you know, we're working on a flight line and, you know, airplanes, you know, because it's safety, everything. And like, you know, you got the right thread protrusion for the bolts and, you know, the right hardware and safety wire. And so it's built like that. But and a lot of the problems we dealt with is the lack of knowledge. So when we're getting down to the end, you know, ready to start this thing, you know, I got a tune sent to me from my buddy Ben, which is a Gwatney. He's one of the tuners. And they had a LT1 motor down there at Gwatney in a Chevelle, and it had a 4L60, not a 4L80. So it's basically the same as mine. We got a bigger cam in this truck though, and we couldn't get the truck to run. It would start and idle, but as soon as you would blip the throttle, it would die. And, you know, I was getting fed up with it. So you jump on the Holley forums, you know, see if there's another update, because they do have software for the Supercharge, the LT4 setup, but not the naturally aspirated. And they keep telling you, hey, there's going to be an update soon. You know, Danny Cabell, he's awesome on the forums, but we was a waiting game. So I went down and talked to Aaron Salisbury. Like I said, he's my man down at Guatney, and he's the smartest fellow that I know. And I asked him, I said, okay, Aaron, I've heard through the grapevine that once you put an aftermarket cam in an LT motor, most aftermarket cams, they increase the fuel pump load to bump the fuel pressure. Does the Holley not like that? Does it, I'm hearing rumors that the Holley doesn't like the higher fuel pressure on the LTs. I'm hearing that, do I need to change this to HB tuners? Because obviously they've figured it out. HB tuners kind of. And all these questions, I said, Aaron, do I need to change this camshaft to put a stock fuel pump lobe in it to make the thing run, or the Terminator can read it? Do I need to pull it off and put an HB tuners on this? What I need to do, because LS was a month and a half away, and he looked at me. He says, "We're going to figure it out. If Holley put this out there, we're going to figure it out." And he knows some people at Holley, so a few minutes later, Aaron's got his laptop set up in the break room there at GPI. And he's looking up the volumetric efficiency tables, where the injector pulse lid, way above my pay grade. You know what I mean? And he's reading all this stuff, and he's telling me, bottom dead center, 120 degrees, injector cuts off. And I was like, Aaron, I'm gonna have to leave it with you. I says, this is above me. And just about the time, another guy that works on Volkswagens, Volkswagen's got those GDIs as well, and they started talking amongst himself and, injector pulse width and whatever. And Ryan, he's another one of the tuners. And Aaron and Ryan sat down there for about 3 hours. And what they ended up having to do is they had to data log a LT in a Camaro. They pulled the data log down and tried to mirror that to the Terminator. And once they mirrored it, they got it. They're getting close. They changed a few things and it would die. And then we were having a problem with, like, you're cruising through the parking lot and you let off the gas and it die. And we were dealing with that. Now, the truck runs good. I mean, wide open throttle, it's nasty. But we still got a problem of it'll take 4 seconds to crank. And it's the most annoying thing to me, because usually I like them to bust right off.
Right.
4 seconds to crank. 4 seconds for the motor to rev up, go through all its motions. And once those 8 seconds are done, then you can engage the motor. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like kind of like a woman in a way. But, you can't cut the air on before that happens. You can't put your foot on the brake. You can't put it in gear. You got to let the motors, go up in RPMs and then settle back down. Once that happens, everything's happy. It's fine. No issues. So that was a lot of the situations we had with that. It's definitely a real steep learning curve versus the LS. I mean, everybody knows what LS, is going on nowadays. But definitely the LTs. And what I did learn from Aaron, so you regular a port injection, when your injector, shoots that fuel, it's a Venturi effect. It creates vacuum in a way. Well, this motor does not, because it shoots directly in the cylinders. So it doesn't have that vacuum signal. So that's another thing they're kind of dealing with the tuning as well. That's those first 4 seconds. I mean, because we got good fuel pressure right out the gate and everything. And also learned that the Terminator, initially it reads the crank signal off the cam, then it switches to the crank sensor. So it takes time for it to have to, learn all that stuff. So it was, quite a bit.
Let's bring out Terry, because we're 26 after on my clock.
All right.
Let's bring out Terry and talk maybe the difference between. There he is.
What's up, gentlemen? What's up? How's everyone doing?
We got lobster and shrimp in the green room for Terry, so he's happy.
Dude, I'm like taking notes. With the LT, I'm sitting up there. But first of all, what I want to say to Bubba and Lou, thank you guys for the service. Bubba, you're very decorated, and we appreciate everything both of you guys do.
It's an honor. Thank you.
And I think I speak for everyone in the room.
For real.
Everyone. We really appreciate you guys.
There you go.
So, I got a question because when Bubba was talking, I thought of something. What kind of pressure do they run at the injector, Bubba?
I want to say it's around 2,200.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
because instead of using the Venturi effect, they're doing it like a diesel engine.
A diesel, exactly.
Yeah.
And
okay. I figured it would be high.
Yeah, sometimes they put lab taps. They'll put a lash cap in there to bump the pressure even more.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Yeah. They're making it atomized so much it becomes itself. Yeah, I got it. So then you got what, at least 11-to-1 compression in that thing?
Oh yeah.
Factory? Okay. Yeah. It's like a diesel engine. Yep.
When I was talking to Bubba about the LT, we're talking LT4s, and I hit up Terry. I said, Terry, what do you think? What should I do? And there was a middle ground because Bubba was telling me grab the truck motor for what it's worth. And then Terry was saying, the aftermarket parts for the LS are all over because everybody's all over the LS engine. The LT, it's a little harder. Just like you said, people are now catching up, trying to figure out the LT. But I end up going with the 6.2. Like I was telling Terry last night, the Brian Tooley cam lifters and that type of thing. The stage 3 is what Tory. I told Tory, here's my credit card, figure it out. It showed up the other day. I didn't open the box. I'm waiting for Lou to come up to open the box.
You went with the stage LS3 stage 2, right?
I went to 3. He went with the
stage 3. You're gonna have a crazy low. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like the
it's supposed to sound old school.
Oh, you got it. You're covered.
Yeah, I hit up MagnaFlow for the exhaust system because they got one that's pre-bent for the X-frame, but I haven't heard anything back. It was just the other day, Tuesday, Monday, whatever. But fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. So,
get some bends
Bob, I don't know if you know Terry, but Terry's YouTube does LS videos, does a lot of stuff on the builds and things like that. But we thought it was a good idea to bring you two guys together because the difference in background, the difference in the preference in the LS, the LTs. I know you like the LS, Bubba, but the LT is, it's right there.
The LT is really uncharted. I mean, really, I don't.
It's a different.
Dude,
animal.
I haven't,
really
guys.
is.
I have not made the jump to LS yet, much less a fucking LT.
Come to the dark side, man. Come on.
Well, the thing is, Bubba, I've got three cranks, all for 383s. I'm not going to get rid of them because no one's going to buy them, so I'm going to use them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. So I'm going to
wrap them in plastic and put them in the back of your garage, Lou. Get on over to LS.
Yeah, if you go
when I get the ones I paid for done.
No, but seriously, the LS. I mean, the LT. I mean, I've dabbled with it a little bit. It's just a very temperamental motor, and not that the LS isn't, but there are so many parts for it where you could just call up anyone. When I was first doing my first LS install, because I was doing tune ports before LS, and I just skipped over the first LT. The one that was in the SS and Power.
With the Opti Spark.
With the Opti, exactly. I skipped over that.
And realistically, that was not the first one. That was the second one.
No, that's the second one when you think about it. Yes, you're right. So I didn't think anyone was going to realize that, but thank you, Lou.
That's why.
He's old school.
It's very good. And so, like I said, I was dealing with tune ports, and I will say, out of all the engines, the tune port is the best looking engine. It looks like a little spider sitting up there. I think it's just a beautiful engine. But once you get about 4,500 RPMs, it falls flat. And I believe it's because of the runners. So I got into the LS early. I don't know if you guys remember back in like these hot rod magazines, there was a guy named oh my goodness, I forget. Arkansas, Street and Performance.
Yeah.
And what he did,
John Bovia.
There you go.
Yep.
So I had a tune port. I don't know where I got it from, but I called up Mark Campbell, and he says, send it on in, and I sent it in. He sent it back. It was a harness and everything like that. I put it on a ZL. What was the engine I had in my 80Z28 was the ZZ4. Put it on that thing. Reluctantly, I was like, this is not going to work. Started it up. That thing, man, I took it down the street and that was it. I was like, I'm never going back to carburetor again. Never, And that's how I got introduced into the electronics, because I go way back with my uncle, yanking engines out of a tree and all these cars that you see back like in the early 80s, all these cars that you see going across Barrett Jackson, like 200,000. We had them in South Carolina for like, you can buy them for like $1,000. He had 442s, he had GTOs. And so I cut my teeth on the big blocks, and, I never owned a big block. I drove many of them, but I never owned them. I was always into the 350s. And so it was just a move where once I got into that injection, that was it. I was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way to go.
So Sean wants to know which one he should get to put in his 69 ragtime.
How much money you got?
I was just
That's what it comes down to.
That's what.
And what's the plan with the car? What's the plan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk dollars because, Bub, you mentioned you got a deal on the LT.
Yeah. So, we got a long block or a short block, Comp Star, some Molly pistons, real good, good internals. And, we got a deal on that for $2,500.
Wow.
That's kind of a buddy deal. But I'd probably say, motor, transmission, man, you're looking at, easily over 15, because you got to get all like the Terminator, the X-Max, you can hook 3 or 4 wires up to a regular LS Terminator and you'd be running. Well, Terminator for the LT, you got to hook up the GDI controller and all these other things. And it's a pain in the backside, hiding the wiring because, they make the harness, the wiring's either too short or too long. It ain't just right.
Right.
So you got to work backwards to figure out, and so, I mean, if you got time and you got money and you want something, that's new, run the LT. But if you want to do a combo go large right here behind me, that's going to 6.0 and a 4L80 right there all day long.
There you go. And don't forget, even if you get that LT running great, and then you want to go and put a supercharger on it, now you got a different animal. Now you got a whole different bag of nuts.
You got accessory drive problems and everything. So
there you go.
And the accessory drives are totally different too, aren't they?
Yes.
Or do that?
They are different.
I don't think no.
So, okay, so let me back up. So the LS has been around for about 20 years now, and they put it in everything. What do they put the LT in?
Pretty much every GM vehicle now.
Okay, so it's basically replaced the LS.
Yeah, 14 or 15 is when they started. I mean, I think the vans still have the 6.0s and some stuff like that, but mostly the production vehicles are, trucks, Corvettes, Camaros. They're all LTs.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was wondering if it was just like, because I don't follow it, so I was wondering if it was just like the ZL1 and the Z06. You know what I mean? I didn't know if it was in everything yet. That's
in the Corvette, they got the LT1s and but actually, this truck, the motor in that truck is an L86, which is a 6.2 out of a truck. But once you go into modding it with head work and cam work, and we use the LT2 intake because for the bang for the buck, I'd rather spend $250. But if I spent $1,100, I could get 7 more horsepower. That
don't make sense.
Yeah. It still make and Aaron and those guys at GPI, I mean, they will dyno test cams, heads, intakes for days to figure out, okay, this one gets this much horsepower and this much. And from what we were doing, we didn't want the high RAM souped up, high RPM power. We just want some low end grunt, which we termed it with a 3200 stall. And it's pretty nasty from a dig.
So that's the head from GPI, right?
Yes, that's a L86 head that's been ported by GPI.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice port.
Let's talk about what it takes to upgrade. You brought up a minute ago the LT1 to supercharged LT4, and let's talk about what it takes to do an LS and putting a supercharger on it, make it an LSA type of. What's the cost? What's the benefit? And I guess I'll throw the LT4 question to you, Bubba, and the LS question to Terry.
You want to take it, Bubba, first?
It don't matter.
Odds or evens.
I'm going to take notes.
What's that?
I'll tell you what, we'll talk about small block first, and then I'll let you guys fight over it.
Small block.
Small block.
Lose back in 1970.
What's that? That's like a hammer, man. What's that?
Yeah, the internet wasn't even invented when that was around. So. So obviously the LT platform, the spacing we have for the truck spacing, like I said, we use CVF, but once you go to the belt driven blower, and if you want a dedicated drive for the blower, which when you're running a lot of boost, you kind of want that. So you definitely got to do a lot more work on the front end for, spacing and whatnot for the, just like the LS, with Terry's going to talk about, but it's a lot more, then you got the injectors and whatnot. So it's pretty much the same thing you got to do on both motors, but it's still, with the LT, it's just so new. There's not a lot of stuff out there like, the LS platform.
Right. Because it's still relatively new.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
So, Bubba, can you take an LT4 supercharger and put it on an LT1 without too many problems?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, because there was a debate that I saw online about the intake and everything lining up and adapters and things like that. But
well, I do know that there's some places out there that are making adapters that use the LT motor. You plug the direct injection ports, and you have adapters for the intake that you can run an LS intake with a normal port injection. Now, those are out there. And a lot of people talk about doing them because they don't want to deal with the direct injection crap,
right?
To make it run like they used, supposed to. And so they just want to do, because if you look at the port size of those heads, you can dang near stick your fist in them.
Yeah, there's
a lot of volume running through there, and that's what they're doing. They're getting smart running the LS intake with those big ported heads.
Well, I heard that Massed Motorsports was kicking around the idea of making LT heads. I heard they were kicking that. I don't know how true it was, but I heard that.
Has them out.
Oh, they do have them? Okay.
I want to say there is.
Yeah. I had heard that, but like I said, I'm not following the engine, so I'm not current. Yeah. But that'd be pretty kick-ass because they're going to CNC the shit out of all of that.
Oh yeah.
They don't play games. Guys, man.
Now, let's talk about the LSA and also the DOD and the lifter.
AFM DOD.
Is it the same thing on the LT4 as the LS? The same issue?
The same kind of. I do know on the LTs you can just unplug it and put a scanner in there and take it away, and it won't activate. LS, if you unplug it, it'll give all sort of codes. So the best way to do it is just snatch it out.
Snatch it out.
Terry, talk about the difference. Talk about putting the LSA lid on the supercharger on the six, like my motor, the 6.2. What's L99?
Your motor, okay. Your motor is 6.2, and pretty much all the LSs, from 5.3, from let's start with 4.8 all the way up to 6.2. They're everything is almost interchangeable. So now, if you want to go on LSA, all you got to do is see. Here we go. You got if you get a front accessory drive kit, it'll fit right on there. Like let's say you got a wrecked LS, a ZL1. You get a front accessory drive from a Cadillac V Series or either a ZL1. You already got the platform there, the 6.2 block. Everything will bolt right on. But then you got companies like Holley, which I just did a video for. They make an accessory drive that comes with everything, even the AC. Yeah, it's a beautiful setup. But if you don't, and then there's other companies that come out there like LS Simple, where if you have a truck, because the truck intake, the 6.0 out of the truck are a little different. So if you have that ham can style, it allows you to use the steering pump, and it also allows you to use the alternator. And when you start doing the LSs, as far as within converting to an LSA, it's pretty pricey now at this point, because what happened was people used to find these LSAs online for like $200 or $300. So basically what happened was when GM first introduced the LS, the ZL1 and that Cadillac V Series, they put what's known as a spring-loaded isolator in the isolator. And I guess in theory, it's to slow it's not that forceful on the lobes of the supercharger. So the spring-loaded would slow it down a little bit, like kind of cushion it a little bit. Come to find out, you're spending like what? Over $100,000 on a V Series Cadillac. And then you're spending like out of the door, maybe 80, 90, close to 90,000 on a ZL1, maybe close to 85. And a few weeks later, you're hearing like a clunk and all kinds of nasty noises. So they were just like, okay, we got to get rid of these spring-loaded isolators. So instead of just having someone crack open the snoot of the supercharger and replacing that isolator, they would send the base. And so basically you have the base, you take the old one off, put it in a box where the new one came in, put it in that has a solid isolator, put it back on, and you're good to go. Now, this is before the whole LSA phase got bumping. And so now GM had all of these superchargers just laying around, Chevy dealerships, Cadillac dealerships, and they didn't know what to do with, because in theory they wanted them to send them back to the dealer, to the company, to
but
GM, but them things are heavy, man. Them things are like almost like 100 pounds, man.
Yeah.
And so they just sat there. That's how I got mine. My buddy called me up. He said, Terry, you know what an LSA supercharger is? I was like, yeah. He's like, we got like 5 of them sitting here. Do you want them? I was like, I'm coming down. And he was like, oh, no, let us sit until Saturday. I was like, I don't want to go to jail. He said, what are you talking about? I said, because if I come down there Saturday and you tell me that your manager threw them away, we're going to have a problem, man. I'm going to go to jail. So I went and got them, and that's how I got mine. And plus a couple of friends just gave me them. And that's how they got so plentiful. And like I said, you could pick them up for like on eBay. I seen them as low as $200. You can't do that now. I mean, in the past 5 years, things have rocketed. I mean, even the tops themselves, you know, you used to be able to get them brand new for like maybe $250, $300. You can't touch them for under $900.
Yeah, I've heard that about that. Yeah.
So installing an LSA at this point, if you don't have anything, because it's more than just the supercharger. Let's say you have the base. Now you're going to have to get a front pulley. You're going to have to get the injectors. You're going to have to get the rails. You're going to have to get a pulley. You're going to have to get a couple of other things that I'm missing out. But still, it's, you know, when it's all said and done, you're knocking on the door of low-end Maggie.
Yeah.
You're pretty much knocking on the door on a low-end Maggie. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not a cheap jump. You know what I mean? It's just not. And it's even more for the LT4, you know? It's not.
And now I will tell you, you know, once you get it all said and done and it's locked in, you'll love it. It's a fun ride. But to get to that journey, unless you really want to go that journey, you know, it's gonna spend. And it's just like anything else, even like an LS engine back in the day. And I'm doing a video, I'm gonna have 2 engines sitting up aside. I'm gonna have one that the way things used to be, where you used to be able to go to the junkyard and get an LS with like 60, 70,000 miles, like a 6.0. You used to be able to find those 60, 70,000 miles on it. And what people used to do was, because the lower end of the LS, you could probably push like 1,000 horsepower. You know, people would just swap a cam in it, maybe do a little head work, water, timing chain, maybe a new timing chain, new oil pump, and you roll with it. But now to be able to go to, you know, like you said, the LSs are up there in age. So to find one in the junkyard, you should really plan on, if you do find one, you should really plan on thinking about bringing it to a machine shop. And I saw a question about someone saying about a 402, it's stroke 6.0. And there's a big difference. It's like when you take the 350 and stroke it, it's a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Let's talk. I know like Callie's and all those guys are making cranks for the LS. Are they making serious hard parts for the LT4? Like, you know,
I do not know yet.
And all that.
I'm sure, you know, it's coming up, but like Terry's saying, you know, the LS was turned off years ago,
right?
Unless it was in like a van or, you know, like a church van or something like that. So now it's all LT stuff. So finding a low mile LS, you better bring out the pocketbook.
Bring it out, and especially if it's a numbered one. If it's like a LS2 or LS6 or LS3.
So, I mean, what a lot of the guys doing around here, you know, at Guatney's, you know, you can get a 5.3 aluminum block and put sleeves in it.
Yeah,
there you go.
A 5.3 aluminum block is cheaper than a 6.2 or 6.0 aluminum motor.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of guys are doing, putting MID sleeves in.
Then you have a 427.
Exactly. And I mean, there's more than one way to skin that cat. So that's what they're doing with the LSs now. But
it has to be the right. It has to be the right 5.3. I forgot what year. It has to be. See, I write my little notes down. It has to be. I forgot what 5.3, but not all of them can be swapped over to accommodate those sleeves. But you could bore it out, and you could what's it called? You can have like a 427. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about doing for my 67 Chevelle, because a 427 just sounds so right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, look on the screen. Milton Made Muscle. Little John Motorsports says a head dial kit and a drill bit to move the head dials. Dude, right there. That's huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you can do that.
I learned from the guys at Gwatney is the LT or the LS head, the bolt holes are like 20 thousandths different than a small block Ford head.
You know, I've heard that. I've heard that too. I've heard that they basically all the platforms now are really close.
Yeah, and there's a guy,
the LTs, the Coyote, all of them are really close.
Yeah, there's a guy on the interwebs put LS heads on his Ford.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow.
But I've heard that, but I didn't know if it was true or not.
I wonder if he has any gasket problems.
Oh, you can get a gasket made.
Yeah,
you can get a gasket made. I got a guy on LinkedIn who does all the copper gaskets. You can get a gasket made. That ain't shit.
Oh.
That's nothing. That's nothing. You can call someone like Cometic. They probably got it on the shelf.
They probably got it on the shelf.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy. I was talking to a guy from Cometic at the auto fair the other day in Charlotte. It was 2 weeks ago now. I asked him in the interview, how many pieces can you guys make? He goes, we have 40,000 SKUs. That's what he said. And he goes, we don't just make head gaskets, but that's what they're known for. They have 40,000 SKUs at Cometic. So I'm sure they could do it.
Like you said, they probably we just had 3 people calling for that same head gasket, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure they're doing it. Someone's doing it because somebody put the LS heads. I think it was an LS head on a small block Chevy a long time ago. It was someone like World Products or someone, like they scaled it down and made it fit. They did something. I remember reading about it. They were playing with it. I don't know if they ever got it done, but they were playing with it. They were doing the old cathedral port heads. They were playing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I'm talking when I was doing muscle car. So I mean, it's been 20 years.
Been a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's what I'm saying. I don't know if it worked or not, but people are thinking of it. They're thinking of all that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Another thing, I forgot to mention about the LTs is a lot of them do not have the power steering because they went to electric power steering or electric steering.
Oh yeah.
So when you get the LT platform, you need to plan on trying to figure out, LS Simple and ICT Billet. All those companies make, adapters and mounts to move those around with the water pump because the water pump's kind of crazy looking on the LT to get power steering.
I saw a guy online. He used the electric Volvo power steering pump, $150. And he had it work. And of course, as soon as you turn the key, electric comes on, you got power steering. You don't have to start the vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a cheap fix. Huh?
Yeah. I'm sure it was.
Lou Sanchez just put it was the Motown block. I knew I remembered that from some crazy way. Yeah.
Let's talk about what you're working on, Bubba. Before the show, you had that camera spun around and telling us what's in your shop, and I know Terry's got some things going on. Let's talk about what's in your shop, Bubba.
So right now is I got a 65 C10 right now. Like I was saying earlier, I'm doing a combo go large on this. Regular combo is the LS swap, but this is go large. That's another 65 that I did, but I'm just putting a 6.0 and a 4L60 in this one behind me with vintage air. A local guy came to me and I said, yeah, I can do that. And then I got an S10 over here that I'm doing for another buddy that's got about 550 horsepower. We built it Kuntz Motors down there in Arkadelphia with a 12 bolt, and it's pretty nasty as well. And pictures you're showing now is my 57 truck that I've owned since 96. Yeah.
Slammed.
Yeah, that's on airbags. It's full cage, 1,000 horsepower, 6-speed auto. It's pretty nasty.
How much trouble was it putting the 6-speed in?
The 6-speed auto?
Yeah.
You got to make sure the tunnel's real big. Yeah. The 6L, the 8L, and the 10L. Golly, they're huge.
How much cutting? How much cutting did you do?
A lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Plasma cutter was used thoroughly on that one and to make a tunnel. And that right there is the first truck I LS swapped for my son. He's on the back texting on his phone like all kids nowadays. And he was at Bowling Green and went out there on the road course track and wadded it up. So just happy he did it on a track, not on the highway. So
yeah, no kidding.
And that's a Chevelle I did. It's got an LT. The second version of LT, as Lou says, with a 6-speed T56. But that's a few things I'm working on, and obviously I got another square body. That's a 54 panel van that I got.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Who knows what I'm thinking about calling Rob McGregor over at No Limit Motorsports and getting a full frame for this dude and autocrossing it or something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Be different.
A panel and putting a nice wrap on it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the
Bubba, I got a question for you.
So that's cool.
What's that?
When you do these installs, do you use the original GM ECU?
And here lately, I've been using the Terminator. Now the truck I just built for me, I use the GM ECU, and I put a 6.0 in it.
Well, how did you get past the whole? Because, like you said, the rack is part of the computer now.
Oh, you talking about the LTs?
I'm talking about the LTs. Yeah.
Yeah. I use the Terminator on. So I use the Terminator. It runs that. But now I just got a harness 2 days ago from my buddy Jamie up at Metal Tech to help me make the motor mounts for the tan truck. I just now got the harness for, and it's got a 6L80. See, the Terminator only supports 4L60, 4L80. It does not support 6L or anything like that. So
6L90s, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to go to that you either need to get just the Terminator X to control the motor and a separate trans controller, or you need to get the GM wiring, and that's what I got over here. But you got to use a 2018 and prior computer because the 19s are locked down.
Right, because I dealt with
it, but it's a lot of money.
I dealt with an LT with a Maggie Supercharger one time before. I'm not going to tell you which car it was because it's a pretty well-known car. And we had so much trouble because we used the stock ECU, and we had to also use the stock steering rack, because it was all tied in, and we did. And that car, it went into limp mode, and we had to call my boy, Ed Gomez from Pro Edge Tuning, and I was just like, yo, what are we gonna do with this thing? And
it's above your pay grade.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
But we got it working and everything like that, and it's a cool build.
Well, I mean, just like the LSs back in the day, they're slowly starting to knock the doors down for the LT. I mean, Jamie said they've got it all squared away on this computer here without, I guess before you had to use like 10 credits to unlock them on HP tuners.
Yeah.
They were talking like $3,000.
HP tuners, you had to buy credits, right?
There ain't no way. I could buy a Terminator for, $1,500.
Right.
Let it each credit is $100 or something like that, like 125 or something like that.
Now they cracked the code, so I got a 6L90 in this truck here, and I'm gonna put the harness on. We're gonna get it running.
That's good.
What rear end you running?
He's running a 8.5, and I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it's just a 5.3 L83, so it'll probably last a little bit. Now the tan truck's got a built 12 bolt with a true track, and obviously it's making a little bit more power than the stock 5.3 would.
What ratio are you running back there?
373s.
373 with a 6-speed with a X. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, it's a 373 with a 6-speed.
I would even go 410s. But,
yeah, he probably can go 410s. Yeah,
easily. Yeah,
410s
with a shorty tire.
Yeah.
Terry, what are you working on? I saw you posted some stuff on the Chevelle.
Yeah, I got a couple of Chevelles, man. I got a problem. That was when I was. I was working with Derek Bieri. We were putting the LS in that engine, and that vice grip. They call it the Cat Farm truck, and it was really cool. And let me tell you something, Derek Bieri, he's a special guy, man. He's just salt of the earth, and I'll tell you a story real quick. So I go to him and I said to him, hey, Derek, because he's in a secluded area, and I said, do you mind if one of my friends stop by? And he goes, yeah, I don't mind it. Whatever. Who is it? And it's Kevin Tetz. And so Kevin walks in. Derek's flipping. Right now, at this time, right, I posted up, and then Tim Strange sees it, and he texts me, Terry, where are you? I was like, I'm in Pulaski. He goes, dude, you're about 20 minutes away from me. Yo, I want to come over. So I go, hey, Derek, do you mind if another one of my friends stop by? And he goes, who? Next thing you know, Tim Strange shows up. And then I said to him, right, I said, hey, Derek, another one of my friends, he might want to stop by, but he's shooting. And he goes, Terry, just tell all your friends to come by. Give them the address. Just give the address. But he couldn't make it because he was filming, and it was Stacey David because they're all in that same area. And and so I was just like, yeah, Stacey, but he was shooting gears, and he says, Terry, I'd love to stop by. If I can stop by, I'll I have a couple of I have like a bunch of cameras here, so if I can, I'll try to sneak away. But he wasn't able to make it because he was just shooting. And right there, those are the boys. That guy back there with the hair, that's American.
Bob.
Huh?
Sideshow Bob.
That guy's he's one of the biggest guys on Instagram. He's Garrett from American Muscle HD. Huh. I don't know if you know that guy. And then the guy right next to is Lewis. And then you got the guy with the hat. That's the KG from Motor Trend. Okay. And come to find out, KG's one of we used to we hung out in the same circles because he's from around my area, and we hung out in the same circle with the same people. He remembers Masters when people used to race on the Garden State Parkway, and he was one of them. Yeah. And I was too young to have a car at that point, so I used to go there with my cousin. I was like, one day, and they shut it down. You got my man Stitch sitting right there.
Yeah, he was on.
Yeah, he was on. That guy's a character.
Yeah, I dig his work. I think his work. We got the same taste.
He is phenomenal. He's in a different level, man. That guy.
Yeah,
he takes Ferrari interiors and sticks them in Impalas, and he's just and everything works. It's not just like the seats and everything works. And
crazy.
So I'm working on that 67 Chevelle. And by the way, Lou, I want to thank you
for what?
Because I called Lou up because I'm mini tubbing it, and I wanted to know how to get past that whole frame because the Chevelle frame is kind of thin in the back. And Lou gave me some really good advice, which I'm going to use. And Lou always gives me good advice. That's the frame right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Lou always gives good advice, and you
need to put where you got that flat plate there, the big plate, like the 8x10.
Right there, yeah.
I'd jam a couple gussets on there, at least one more going back in an angle.
Oh, that was when it's bare, and I was marking it up, but I did just that because I figured I need some gussets back there, and I did.
Yeah. Okay.
So that frame is tight.
That's 67 Chevelle. Is that what you said?
That's the 67. I still got my 71 that I'm redoing. I call it the 71 LSA LS whatever 2.0 because I'm redoing the whole car over. I mean, it used to be white with black stripes. Now it's copper with like ghost stripes. It's gonna be sick.
And then, those clamps you had on there, dump those clamps and get some good C clamps.
Yeah, that was just to hold it up.
Clamps. Yeah,
that was just to hold it up.
Because you can't get enough torque on there with that handle.
No, and you know what happens? It also melted.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah,
it also melted. So I ran back out and got some new ones.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be talking to Bubba because I might be getting a truck at some point.
There you go.
And it seems like you're the guy to talk to because I need a tow rig. I got a tow to like Hollyfest and all this.
Yeah.
What kind of truck, Terry?
You got to get a square body.
Yeah.
Square body.
I'm partial to C10s. I'm partial to like the earlier ones, like in between 67 to like
72s.
Yeah, I would even go a little after. I would go to 82, whatever. I would go, where they had the double headlights. Like I'm not really. I mean, as far as with C10, I'm not. I know the 67 to the 72, and then that next generation. I'm looking for that one.
Yeah.
But anything that's cool, anything that's cool, that's affordable, and that's it. And plus, I got so many
these
projects.
days.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
I was thinking, as soon as it came out my mouth, I was just like, that's an oxymoron, man.
Yeah.
What's on horizon?
You need to find yourself a crew cab, square body.
Exactly.
And make it a short bed. And then you got the Holy Grail. That's what you got.
Put a 6.2 in and let it eat.
Yeah, but a crew cab is so hard to find, man.
Yeah, they sexy though.
They are. They're sexy as hell. Now you could do the 89 to 98.
Yeah.
Those are getting hard to find, but you got to. And the reason why they're getting hard to find is they got caught up in that whole cash for clunker thing. But you can get one of those in a crew cab, and those still were they were trucks for the most part. They still had manual windows and all that. You know, you got AC because they were being nice to you, but you could find them still relatively cheap.
Yeah, when I was in the military in the early 90s, that's all we had.
Yep.
And man, if I'd only known.
Yeah, I know, right? Same with me. Yeah, but you could do that, and then because they made those in dualies, and they also made them in 1-ton single wheels.
Yes.
So you still get the 1-ton. The only thing you'd have to do is put the fenders on it, cut the bed to fit, and then it's got the floating axle. So you just put on the dually wheels.
Mm-hmm.
You can still find them, and they came with big blocks, but they were real anemic. They were like 300 horsepower 454s, but you don't need that because you're gonna get rid of it. But they came with 4L80Es.
Mm-hmm.
So you do the LS tied to a 4L80E. You got the tow rig.
There you go. Yep.
You got and they do drop spindles and all that for them. So you could get it down where you want it. I'm not I mean, I know bags work because they work, but I'm not a fan of bags if you're going to drive it everywhere. So you do a static drop and let that bitch eat.
Me and Bubba are going to get together after the show. Bubba, I think we should get together and do something, bro.
Right on, man.
For real. I thought it was a good combination when I was talking.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
I was talking to Terry like 10 minutes before Bubba. I was going back and forth. I had Tori on the phone. But Tori sent me a text and told me to tell Bubba, thanks for remembering.
Okay. Oh, wait, I got one more. I got one more. If you really want to go crazy, I've seen them. And I want to do one because I just got all the parts to do one. So I want to do it in at least in the next 2 years. Get yourself a square body Suburban. You put the 1-ton suspension under it. You put the 1-ton suspension on. Now the frame on the 1-ton is 8-inch. The regular frame is 6-inch height, right?
Yes.
But everything will bolt up. Do the 1-ton front suspension. Put the dually rear end on it. And there's a place in Texas where you can get the dually fenders for a Suburban and do a dually Suburban, and you'll be able to use that as your tow rig too.
And Suburbans are dirt cheap too.
Can you imagine
Suburbans
that?
are cheap.
You can get Suburbans for cheap.
There's a dude in Texas on Instagram, Texas Square Bodies, I think it is, and he sells Suburbans. He's a square body junkyard. That's all he deals with. I reached out to him because I got a Suburban that came out of Buffalo that's all rusted, and I wanted to do a body swap. He told me $400 for a Suburban body. I told him I don't need the doors. All I need is the back doors, and it's got to be barn door. I don't need nothing else. He goes, I'll throw in the frame so you can load it easier. So you just slide it up on the trailer. I just need to go get it. I need to just do it. And that was before my surgery, so it was 7-8 months ago. Yeah.
So Lou, with the falling down, what's that mean about you coming up? You coming up next week, next Thursday, or what are you doing?
Well, I can't come up. I can't come up next week because I got an MRI on Thursday.
Oh yeah, that's right. You just said
I got the MRI, and then I see this. I got to see the surgeon, but the surgeon is like 2 weeks after that. I'll get you the dates. I know Thursday. I get at 8 p.m. I got to do an MRI because they did a CT scan on my back, and the doctor said there's a shadow, and it could be that one of the screws pulled out a little. So they got to check it. They got to check it.
How much pain you in?
Right now, I'm in none, but I've been taking it easy.
Oh, maybe that's part of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm acting like I had surgery again. Yeah, I'm just not doing shit because I don't need that. I don't need that thing to pull. I don't want to be like Joe. Remember, Joe said that he messed his elbow up and he thought it was okay, and he pulled everything out. I don't want to be like Joe and they had to go back in. No, I don't want to do that. I'm trying not to do that.
Eric wants to from New Mexico. He wants to drive out and help out while you're here.
Yeah,
Terry said he
told me.
Terry may stop up for the day because Terry, how
Yeah, I'll
far?
stop up for the day.
Yeah, how far from me are you? What's home base for you? What town?
Like near Paramus?
Oh, that's a couple hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not even an hour and a half.
Are you near the Ben Franklin? Not Ben Franklin. Yeah, the Ben Franklin Bridge.
I'm a little bit past that.
Okay, so I mean, I can get the Ben Franklin Bridge in 40 minutes without traffic.
Oh yeah. Then you're about an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 5 minutes from me. That's nothing.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Man, if I was still stationed up in New Jersey, I'd swing up.
There you go. Come on up.
Good time, Bubba, man. Yo, we get you some bubblegum shrimp or whatever. Yo, we'd have a good
bring
time.
it.
Yeah.
Bubblegum shrimp.
Bubba, what do you drink? Bubba, what do you drink? Out of curiosity.
I'm a bourbon guy.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm a bourbon guy, and right now we're on a Knob Creek single barrel reserve. It's a high octane, 120 proof, and it's like a liquid gold.
Really?
A liquid Twix bar.
Wow.
Yeah, we was just in LS Fest there in Kentucky, so we picked up a few high-end bourbons over there we hadn't tasted out. What we got right here? There it is.
I'm trying to get it to work.
Lou's got a chubby now. You're talking about it. He's got Teeny's going to get it with
Stand up,
it. It's messing up your green screen. It's messing up your green screen. It doesn't know what to do.
It's messing up the green screen. You get the idea.
Yeah.
You get the idea. It's a bad bitch. It's a bad bitch.
Well, we're at 8 after, so we got a jet. We probably should do this again. Follow up. You know what I mean? Have a reunion.
Have a reunion.
Right?
You guys going to Sema?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I've been watching flights. I mean, I could take Frontier for cheap, but I bookmarked American. Right now, it's $1,300.
Wow.
Coach, and I've been following that for 2 months, and it's $1,100, $1,300. Keeps bouncing around. I'm like, let's do it. First class, yeah, sure. Coach, where I got my knees up at my chin, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do I got time for one more story, real quick? I got one.
Go ahead, sure.
I got to tell a Lou story. And I told Lou when we came back from SEMA that I'm going to tell this story. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
All right. Well, you're going to remember. So we're at SEMA, right? And Lou's such a great guy. I tell you, he cracks me up. I had said something right now. He says, like he knows that I'm, at some point I want to get a show or whatever and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I had said something to someone who is as a response, like someone says, "Oh, Terry, you knew about that," and I said I did not knew, as in to make a joke on it, right?
Yeah.
Next thing I know, Lou is like he loses his mind. He's like, "Terry, get over here," right? And so I was like, "What's up?" And he goes, "Don't ever do that again. You never know who are listening. This guy could be a producer. This guy could be a producer. Don't ever. I never want to hear you say that again."
It wasn't.
Right?
He didn't say one thing. He started speaking Ebonics. That's what he started doing.
I'm just glad that there was a table because, I would have got a foot right up in the keister because, he just was, I never want to hear you say that again. Now let's go to Magnaflow and get something to eat.
There you go.
It was good.
He will tell you like it is, like it or not.
Oh,
he
no,
will
that's
tell
what
you.
Anyone who meets Lou will have a Lou story.
Yeah.
We'll have a Lou story. Yeah. That's just how he is.
Most of them are bad, though.
No.
Well, I'm just glad the table was there because it would have been different ending.
For sure. No, I don't know if I'm going or not. I may. I don't know. Wife's not going. She's got something else to do, so I'd be by myself. Lou, what about you? Did you get any invitations to go to SEMA?
I haven't gotten any invitations.
AMD?
They backed out. Going.
Yeah.
They're not going. They told me
Seems like a lot of people. I heard Ford and Chevy's not going to even be there.
That's what I heard.
Honda's not going to be there either.
Bubba, you ever been? You ever been to SEMA?
Never been to SEMA.
Oh.
Huh.
I'm just an old podunk redneck.
Oh, come on now.
If we go, we can get you in. We know,
we gotta get this guy in.
We know a guy.
Yeah, we get you credentials. That's not a big deal.
Yeah. And hell, I drive I-40.
Yeah, just swing on by.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can stop by and pick you up.
Yeah.
That's an easy run.
Long one.
It ain't
Yeah,
bad.
it is. It is a long run. That's the way Lou does it, though. He's got.
I go to sleep in Oklahoma City my first night. Second night, I'm in Kingman, Arizona. 2.5 hours later, I'm in Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, public can't attend, but they should open it up to the public. Really, they should. It would make a difference, even if it was $25 a ticket or per day or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because it is
opening it up. But I mean, but if Sean has a shop, he could join SEMA as long as you have something in the automotive industry. You can join SEMA and get in. You just got to pay for your ticket that way, but you just can't show up and expect to get in. You got to someone's got to help you out. You know what I mean? So
don't they open up to the public, the general public, like the last day or something?
Friday when they do that, SEMA after night is open to the general.
Yeah, the Ignited.
Unless they changed it. Now we'll know more about that when Randall comes on, because Randall's Armo, which is part of SEMA. Randall's
coming up next week.
No, next week.
Next week.
Okay. Yeah, next
week.
The
answers. You get SEMA answers then.
Yeah, we can get SEMA questions.
But guys, before we jet, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, follow you, whatever, Bubba, you on social media? Everybody knows Terry. He's all over social media.
I really don't do. I call Facebook the Book of Face, man. El Diablo. No, I'm really not on social media, man. If somebody wants to holler at me, man, I mean, I can give you my email address, and they can drop me an email, and I'll.
That's up to you. Whatever you want to do, Bubba.
Oh, yeah. So it's Bubba, Bubba, at oldarkansas.com.
That's easy to remember right there.
That's easy.
I'm also a co-owner of a security company. So that's the email, and I'll answer that every day. And then we can get numbers and whatnot, and we can text or call or whatever.
Yeah, Bubba, we're going to definitely hook up.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I sent a group text. So everybody has everybody's phone
text. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Lou is on there. Terry's on there. I sent it out. We're all good. Terry, they want to find you. Where you at?
Yeah, on YouTube. Let's get it going. Yep. Coverman66, Instagram, Terry LSX. There's a TikTok now. Coverman66 on TikTok, and on Facebook it's just Terry Wilson. I got 3 of them. I got Terry Wilson, but that's the one I mostly stick with. You got Coverman66 and you got Terry LSX, but on Facebook it's just regular Terry Wilson.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Guys,
thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. John appreciates it.
Yeah.
We got to have you come back because I'm sure there's going to be more questions. Maybe we can print the questions and we can go through them. Whatever we got to do, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So there you have it. John, what do you think? Was it a good show? I think it was a good show.
Yeah,
I learned a lot.
We really should have slowed it down at times and got into some of the more details about who, what, and what to do, what not to do, or budget and things like that. There's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a ton there. But I can if the guys put questions on YouTube, I can print them off. And if we have to, we can do a show where we bring them on one at a time.
Answer the question.
Answer the questions. You know what I mean? Or I can send them if they don't have it. I can just make sure I answer the question with Bubba's email or Terry's stuff. Yeah. And then
I thought it was a great idea because when I was talking to both guys, there's pros and cons. I thought it was interesting that Bubba actually, cracked the LT. Not that he's the first, but he's, he could tell that he figured it out without, reaching out to 29,000 people.
Yeah.
Of course, Terry knows LSAs. I'm gonna try to steal one of those superchargers off him. I don't want to say anything, but I'm gonna see if I can get one. He says he got like 6 of them. Come on.
Tori knows where some are at too. Tori knows where some of them are too. Yeah.
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 I know we were talking.
When I steal your 5.3, I'm just gonna go turbo.
That's what Terry was saying. He goes, if you put turbos on that thing and you get going, I'm like, I still want to be able to pop the hood, have a 6.2. The torque's not there on a 5.3. I mean, you get it, but it's not the same.
Yeah, but with a turbo, you'll get torque.
It ain't the same.
I know it's not the same, but you get torque.
I had the Escalade with the 6.2. I got the Tahoe with the 5.3. I don't give a shit what you do, and I get that 6.2 could pull down a house at 80 miles an hour. I mean, it was just there was no stopping it.
It's got big block torque.
Yeah, the computer shut off at like 118 or something. But I could pass you at 100 miles an hour and just go, I got to get past this guy. I got to go, get out of my way. And that Escalade would go, going.
Yeah.
This Tahoe, which is a police version Tahoe, I don't have it programmed. I didn't do it. It's all stock. It's the way it came. No comparison. I could outrun the police car in the Escalade, circle the cop, and come back and pass him again. That's how fast. So in my brain, I'm thinking 6'2", 5'3" is not me. I mean, I get it. It came with the 5.3, and I thought about just leaving it because, you know, it is still an LS motor, but I just thought I want that thing, the car behind me, to move.
So what I'm going to put in one is the Atlas engine, the Atlas series. They came in the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
They came in the Trailblazers. They're sick. They made them in a 4-cylinder, a 5-cylinder, and a 6-cylinder. It's an inline. I'm going to put one of those in something.
There you go.
I'm going to put one and turbo it.
You got to deal with this 5.3 first. What are you going to put it in your dad's truck?
I'm going to put it in Dad's truck. Yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish up the chassis on it because I want to put it back on the road. I hate to say it, but I'm going to part with my red S10, and when I get the green S10 done, which I'm going to shoot some video on and and we'll have pictures next week. I'm going to let it go too.
All right.
I'm going to get it done. I just got to start thinning the herd. I got a bunch of square bodies here I need to get on the road. I want to get back to my roots, man. That's what I want to do.
Got to have a square body. You got to run that to Vegas.
I know. I got to just get back to my roots.
We're way over.
All right. We're way over.
Yeah. Money's on the dresser, Lou. I'll talk.
All right, John. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. I know we covered a lot. I know we did. But like I said earlier, put your questions on YouTube, and we'll get them answered for you. We'll get you hooked up with the right guy that you need to talk to, and we'll go from there. If not, we can always have him come back on. I'm sure Bubba or Terry would come back on and answer questions, and we would do it just straight question answer time, and we'll go from there. Hope you enjoyed the show. Next week we have Randall. He's from Armo. He is they're like the stock, the OE part of Sema. So we'll have a lot of questions to ask him. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next week, keep it between the lines. Later.